The problem is the system. The current system will not work as it's architected. We heard about this during Black Lives Matter movement and all the stuff that's been going on in society about systemic racism. We have systemic racism, we have systemic sexism, we have systemic ageism in the system of hiring people. We need to change the system. We cannot just play around in the edges. And as much as I want to make fun of people not having the resolve and spending the money because they've got all this money and they could probably solve the problem if they really wanted to, that's not always the answer. Let's go through the past history. Knowledge of the problem, check. Companies know there's a problem. Desire to change, not really sure, but we'll say check. Money, check. Pressure, check. We have all these things. Have they changed? They haven't. There was no time before the pandemic in human history where the stars were aligned for us to take advantage of diversity more so than then, and we did nothing. We need to change the system. So, why is Job Hackers different? Why do we have the diversity? Well, look at some of the things we talked about before. Job Hackers, no one is turned away. We have never turned anybody away. If you feel that you can benefit from what we do, you're in. And so what we're really seeing in Job Hackers is we're not seeing this drive for diversity, though we do reach out to underserved communities because we think it's the right thing to do. What we see is we see a reflection of the people who are getting left behind. Does that make sense? We see the reflection of the people getting left behind because these are the people who are not getting work and they're coming to us looking for our assistance. We do not turn anybody away. We do not say that you do not have the prerequisite knowledge. We believe that everyone can learn what we have to teach. Now, granted, we're not a for-profit organization, so maybe we can do things a little bit easier. But what we learned is this from Job Hackers is that you need to keep the barriers to entry as low as possible. And you need to emphasize something that most organizations do not do, especially these days, and that is to emphasize potential over experience. Everyone who comes into our program, we believe, has the potential to learn what we have to teach. And they come to us from so many different walks of life, so many ages, so many races, so many countries these days. I want to say hi to B from Indonesia who joined us. One of my favorite Job Hackers. It's hard to be biased when all folks are welcome. So we need to remove the barriers. That's part of changing the system. One of the things that we're trying to do is actually we're trying to if we ever got funding, is we're trying to pay people. That's in our pro forma from years ago when we started this little nonprofit. We want to pay people because we know that even free education is a barrier for some people, right? Even some people, they can't make that time. So if we could pay them to come and train with us, we could remove that barrier as well. We believe and we know that the answer is twofold, and it's things that companies don't do well. It's internships, but internships are problematic in certain ways because internships tend to be young people. And the young people that go in tend to be people who have usually some kind of connection with either a particular college or particular people within the organization, which doesn't lead to as much diversity. I know that there's some companies doing better than others. The real key is apprenticeship, which so many companies aren't doing and so many companies are doing poorly, which is kind of what we're doing at Job Hackers, right? If we could hire people, bring them in, have them be apprentices, and then farm them out as employees to other organizations, that would be a great thing. We need tons of more apprenticeships. We need to pull people in with zero experience, but then work with them and invest in them at a company level, and you would change the game there as well. So, if Jack doesn't want to give me the 60 billion to hire 220 women, give me the 60 billion to set up an apprenticeship program, and then give us a couple more years and we'll change the equation. Because an apprenticeship program by its nature should take all who who could do it or have potential to do it, not just the experience to do it. A lot of the boot camps are taking people, a lot of the apprenticeships are taking people who already have experience. So again, bypassing the very people who need the assistance. What we want to do at Job Hackers as a long-term thing is not only do we want to have people be employees, but we want to bring work into Job Hackers like you would to a Deloitte and Touche or whatever, you know, one of those consulting companies, where we would have diverse teams who would work on that work. And they would be apprentices. Because our calculation would be, how can we build people of talent, not how do we hire people who already have it, right? And the good thing is as the people go through the program, they become mentors and other people. So what we've found is, as we've been very fortunate to work with a number of partners in areas that service underserved people, whether it be women or minorities or underserved communities, they bring people from the community with them. And the same would happen with apprenticeships, right? So this creates a virtuous cycle, as opposed to what we have now, which is really a vicious cycle. Because you know, I do a talk on cognitive illusions. A lot of you job hackers are here. You heard it. I think it was just, you know, yesterday or the day before or whenever. We all have these biases. That doesn't make us bad. That makes us human, right? So we tend to hire people we're comfortable with, and we're comfortable with people who look like us. It's just that simple. So we have to really start to pull in people from diverse backgrounds so that they can continue to pull in more people from diverse backgrounds, right? There will be a part where you get to a certain percentage and it will just click. It's a tipping point. Anyway, talking about job hackers in our nonprofit, I would love to be in a position to provide services to other organizations to help them remove biases as well, by helping them by screening the resumes or removing some of the identifying information and teaching them to carpet the room, so to speak. So these are just some thoughts on how we can build a better system, but I will tell you with almost certainty that we're not going to get there by doing things as we've always done them. And I have no inkling in my mind that Twitter or anybody else who has these audacious goals, which I don't think are even that audacious, are going to meet those goals, because they're not changing the system. Until they change the system, they will continue to get the same things over and over.